Bitch.
Who would have thought that you could use aerosol deodorant to help start an engine? Fill her up, mate. Are you okay? Retail. Yummo.
And there's oil everywhere. I'd say my ride's over.
And welcome to another Mongrel Dog production. And welcome to this Great Central Road. Myself and a small group are actually inbound to the Kimberley region of Western Australia, but our progress has been hampered for different reasons. Anyway, grab your gear. Let's go. Well, it's early, before sunrise, and it doesn't seem like that long ago that I was last here, that is, sitting in the saddle. I'm on my way to meet 4 others, and it's about an hour out of town, only because we all come from different directions within Perth, so it just makes sense to meet up about an hour out. And from there, the destination is Gibb River Road in the Kimberley region of Western Australia. Absolutely stunning location. But the only catch is we're going via Central Australia and through the Tanami Desert. About 7,000 kilometres by the time we return. I've done most of the roads and tracks, but there's a few within the group that haven't. It's not my ride. The ride leader is a bloke by the name of JP, John. It's his gig. So yeah, we'll make our way to the start point, have a cup of coffee, bit of light banter, and then get underway. Welcome aboard. Well, here we are at the lakes. I'm early, and that's okay. It gives me time to have a light breakfast and a cup of coffee. I can see a couple of bikes down there. Maybe I'm late. Nah, I'm not late. They wouldn't go without me. Then again, they might. Slackers. Here it comes. Alright, we're all here. Let me introduce you to the players. Him, that's Tom. Tom's a former soldier, and more recently has been a small business owner. He's currently in between contracts. Some of you may know him as Broken Leg Tom. He comes with a certain skill set. Cots. He's on a DRZ 400. He's only just recently retired. This is his first big trip after retirement. He's looking forward to it. JP on his Africa Twin, his newly acquired Africa Twin, that's why it looks so clean. A former school teacher and more recently a facilitator. Gets involved with leadership training and that sort of thing. JP is currently transitioning to retirement. It's his trip, it's his journey. He's not done the Tanami track nor Gibb River Road and the Kimberley. It was his idea to do it, and it doesn't take much convincing for me to come along. Chris, sometimes referred to as Chris number 2, but he's going to be Chris number 1 on this trip. He and I have done some big trips together. He's on his trusty old DR650. Chris was a former crane operator. He's retired. He retired a couple of years ago. He also comes with a particular skill set, and I think individually all of us have something to offer. Collectively we should be unstoppable. And me, on my trusty R1200, I also was a former soldier, later turned logistician, and I've been retired for a few years. We have no destination in mind today. Probably do 500 kilometres and end up bush camping somewhere. It's supposed to be a wild storm later today that hits Perth. You wouldn't think so looking at the weather now, but yeah, it's going to turn ugly quickly. We should stay dry because we're heading east, and hopefully the storm won't reach that far inland. This is the small farming community of Bruce Rock. Probably pull up here and have a cup of coffee and a bite to eat. They must have had good rains through here. All the crops are looking pretty good. I'm sure the farmers would be happy. In fact, in Perth, geez, it's like the rain hasn't stopped all winter. And I guess that's why we're heading north, to escape the rain, go up north and experience warmer temperatures. Well, this is Southern Cross. I'm in a bit of strife. I've discovered an oil leak from the right hand cylinder rocker cover. My boot is covered in oil, as is the right hand side of the bike. After my last big trip, I had the mechanic check the valve or the tappet adjustment, the rocker adjustment. For that to happen, that cover's got to come off, of course, and my guess is either the gasket's cracked or broken, or he just hasn't done the bolts up tight enough. So we'll refuel, I'll make a couple of calls and take it from there. I would have thought too, if there was going to be one loose, it'd be down the bottom, go over but there to pull it out, the rocker cover, and then put everything back together. From here we were going to bush. There's a small community called Bullfinch about 30 kilometres away. That's on the blacktop. Well, I'm not prepared to take a risk, mate. The only one I'm loose. Can you move that, Tom?
Sorry, I'm going to move it out.
Well, all we're doing is wriggling it, and then, yeah, that's probably all we can do.
Okay.
Alright, I've spoken to the mechanic. I personally think the gasket is damaged, but he's just suggested we loosen the 3 bolts that hold that rocker cover on, and we've done that. He just wants us to rejig it a bit and then do everything back up tight. Where we're going, I can't afford to take a risk. I'll become a liability. We're going to put it all back together. We're going to go up the road about 30 kilometres. I'll degrease it, I'll give it some stick for the next 30 k's. We'll pull up. If it continues to leak, then I'll head back to Perth. I'm not going to continue. Not this early in the game.
Alright, off we go, Chris.
On the back up? Yep. That's all we can do. Alright, we probably lost about an hour. Having said that, we were making good time and we have heaps of daylight. From here, I'm going to take the lead to Bullfinch on the blacktop, and I'm going to give it some shtick on the way. It's about 30 kilometres. After that we'll check for an oil leak. Hopefully it'll be a good outcome. Hopefully it's not leaking. If it is, then I'm not gonna take a chance. I'll end up going back to Perth. I'll be there this evening. And the others will continue on. And I'll get the bike sorted tomorrow, and then I'm not quite sure. Anyway, I'll know more in about 30 kilometres. Right, this is Bullfinch. Travelled through here only a few weeks ago. Regular viewers would be aware of that. Yeah, to get here I left it in 4th gear. This is a 6-speed gearbox, but I left it in 4th just to have the engine working a little bit harder than it should. Plus I was probably going a little bit quicker than I should. But anyway, I'll pull up here. Guys will catch up to me in a couple of minutes. I'll pull up here somewhere and check for an oil leak, see how we go. Well, it's bloody hot. I think there's still signs of a leak there. No, I'm not happy. The boys are going to keep going and I'm going to turn back to Perth. I'll be there this evening, and old mate opens at 7:30 in the morning, so I'll be there at 7:31. Get it sorted. I should be back on the road by noon at least, and then I'll slab it. I'll just stick to the blacktop. So there, boys. Yeah, I'll stick to the blacktop and try and catch them somehow. You know, it's still a weep, and you know, we got a couple of weeks of gravel, unsealed road, so the bike's going to get covered eventually in oil, and then it'll get covered in dirt, and that'll set like concrete. I'm not going to take the chance. To do so would be risky. So 4 hours back to Perth. I'll be there just after dark and tackle the problem tomorrow. I just remembered something. There's supposed to be a wild storm that hits Perth later on this evening when the wind is picking up, and I'm still 4 hours away from Perth. I hope I'm off the road before it hits. I don't want to be on the bike after dark with a heavy thunderstorm. That's not a good mix. I guess I'll know more in a couple of hours. I think he wants me to stop. So I better do as he asks. Here's a big boy. Holy shit. I'm going to be pulling up pretty soon. Certainly can't keep moving after sunset. Jeez. Oh, you wouldn't want to get stuck behind that, would you? What a pain in the ass. sun went down about 20 minutes ago. Still a bit of twilight left, but not much. It looks like the last hour will be in the dark. Up until now the rain has held off, but some of those clouds have looked very, very menacing. There were clouds further to the south of me which looked like they contained a whole lot of moisture. Maybe I've dodged it, but I'm not so sure. But yeah, another half an hour and I'll be in the traffic. That's probably a bit safer than being out here at the moment because of the wildlife. Well, it started to rain. I'm going to pull over and suit up because I think when it hits, it's going to hit with a vengeance. I mean, I don't want to get stuck in that, so I'll seek some shelter and just spend a couple of minutes suiting up because I think it might be worthwhile. Alright, fingers crossed. Probably difficult for you to see, but there's the lights of Perth. I'm just outside the metropolitan area now. So far so good. It's certainly been a light drizzle, but nothing serious. I don't know if you can hear that through the microphone, but there's a very, very strong wind at the moment. My guess is the storm hasn't hit yet. But I was just reminded as I was going through Mundaring, no matter how shitty you think your day is, I just saw some homeless bloke wheeling all his possessions in a shopping trolley, trying to seek shelter out of the rain. So yeah, like I say, no matter how shitty you think life is, there's always somebody doing it just that a little bit harder than you are. Here comes the rain. It's gonna bucket down. Well, nearly home. It's been a big day today and it'll be another big day tomorrow. I'm going to be at the mechanic's place at 7:30, so I'll be leaving home before first light again. But yeah, I'm glad that's over. Did about 800 k's today. Never saw that coming. Well, it's early again. Day 2 of what should have been an adventure, and I guess that's what it's worked out to be. Yeah, another early start. I'm on my way to see the mechanic. He said they have the vehicle there at 7, well, the bike at 7:30. Making allowances for morning traffic. I should be there on time, I think. Anyway, we'll get it there. We'll get it sorted and we'll hit the road and start backtracking. .29 AM. I must have got all the green lights for a change. I had some concerns about that front tyre because that's had to do a bit more work on the blacktop than I intended. So Thorsten's given me a run out just in case I need it in a couple of days' time. Oh, no more once I get to Uluru. That front tyre was only ever meant to get me another 7,000 k's, and because of this diversion It's going to be a bit more than that, but anyway, we'll figure that out in a few days' time. So yeah, it's only just after 8 o'clock. I can comfortably ride for about 8 or 9 hours today. Maybe get 800 kilometres under my belt, which will get me near Menzies. We'll be right. Well, I'm hoping the rain has cleared up for the day. When I think about it, that rocket cover, that's been on and off probably a dozen times. The bike's done 140,000 k's. You're supposed to have those tappets adjusted or checked at least every 20,000. So it's been on and off a number of times. It's not surprising that that gasket may have failed. Just unfortunate it failed when it did. Anyway, doesn't matter, we're back on the road. I'm pretty sure I'll make Menzies this evening. I don't know where the blokes will be, but they'll have a signal at different times of the day. They'll be able to see my satellite tracker. They'll know where I am and what sort of progress I'm making. I'm at Meriden. I've just pulled over to get fuel and have a bite to eat, and by coincidence John JP, the ride leader, he's rung me. They're in a location where they must have a signal. There's a lot of mining activity going on out there, but he told me that they copped rain last night to the point where the roads are dangerous. It's all gravel, it's all unsealed. He's come off a number of times. A couple of the other blokes are struggling as well. So they're thinking about pulling up where they are and just perhaps giving it 24 hours until the road dries out. So none of us saw that coming. We thought the rain was going to ease, in fact stop, the further east we went. So it looks like I could end up waiting for them. Like I say, nobody saw that coming. Well, this is Southern Cross. This is where I first noticed the leak yesterday. I've already covered 1,250 kilometres on this journey and effectively not achieved anything. The other blokes, I mean, they turned left here and started heading north. They're of course stuck somewhere on Bullfinch Everston Road on their way to Menzies. I'm going to wait till the road dried out a bit. I feel sorry for JP because that bike's only new. This is its first real adventure. And he mentioned he had laid it down a couple of times. There's a couple of bits of plastic that are broken, so yeah, he'd be disheartened. I've got to feel sorry for the guy. And originally they were going to be waiting for me, but it looks like that I might be waiting for them. I've already booked into the caravan park at Menzies. I did that online, so at least I've got a campsite for tonight. I believe the facilities there are pretty good. Probably about another 4 hours of riding, I think. I'll get there just before sunset. Enough time to put up the tent during daylight. Another wide load, a very wide load. He's going to want me to stop. I tried sneaking past yesterday and it didn't work. I don't know what sort of power those escorts hold, as in, can they fine you, charger? Poor bloke in the Falcon, stuck behind it. Okay, just entering the town of Kalgoorlie. This place exists because of gold, of course. An Irishman named Paddy Hannett discovered gold here back in the day. It's a reasonable sized town, but yeah, everything revolves around the mining industry. And here's a fun fact. Back in the day when Australia used to have a car manufacturing industry, this place, the Holden dealer here, sold more HSVs, Holden special vehicles, than any other dealer in Australia, including the capital cities, Melbourne and Sydney. The reason for that is Kalgoorlie, unlike a lot of mining towns in Australia, Kalgoorlie is not fly in, fly out. All their workers come from the local population. So they had a lot of cashed up bogans here. nothing else to spend their money on but fancy cars. And they're the only ones who, I guess, could afford the cars and afford to run the V8s. So yeah, the Holden dealer here sold more HSVs than any other dealer in Australia. I don't know what the cashed up bogans spend their money on now. Probably flash 4-wheel drives. Anyway, we'll find a place to refuel, get a guts full of fuel, and then keep heading towards Menzies. From here we start heading north, hopefully to warmer temperatures. Yeah, this is the main street, and here's another fun fact for you. The reason why the street is so wide is back in the day it was so wide so that they could turn stagecoaches around, so the stagecoaches could do U-turns. Alright, well, while I've been having my cup of coffee, I'd received a few messages from JP and the others. The conditions on that road continue to be to the point where they're not going to continue. They've pulled up for the day. In fact, they pulled up a couple of hours ago. I guess they're going to wait a day, 24 hours, in the hope that that road dries out sufficiently so that they can make some progress tomorrow. So I could have some time up my sleeve waiting for them. If they struggled on their bikes, geez, I couldn't imagine the sort of problems I would have had on this. So I'm thankful I'm thankful for the oil leak, because it could have been a different story altogether. Anyway, from here turn left to Menzies, about an hour and a half, and that'll be me done for the day. It's all open cut around here, open cut mining. The largest is a thing called the super pit. I think you can see it from space. It's a big hole in the ground, that's for sure. Alright, this is Menzies. There's not much left here anymore. It used to be all gold mining, of course. The campground, or the caravan park, is actually run by the community, so it's all self-check-in and stuff. Oh, I see a sign that says turn left here. Okay. I guess that gate would ordinarily be closed. Now there's supposed to be some grass around here. Not much of a walk to the camp kitchen, at least. Yep, this is me for the day. Well, I've landed on my feet here, camp kitchen, and because I could be here for a day, I could be here for a couple of days, but anyway, it's got everything that I would ever want, including the TV over there, so I can watch the news, because yeah, I could be here for a little while. If they're stuck out there, if the road doesn't dry out sufficiently tomorrow, then yeah, I could be here for a couple of nights. We'll wait and see. Anyway, there's enough daylight for me to put up my tent, so I'll do that. And I'll probably spend most of the evening inside the camp kitchen, because it'll be warmer in there than it will be out here. Clearly I can't have a fire, which is a bit of a bummer, but that's okay. Well, a beautiful clear day where I am. It was bloody cold last night, but that aside, I just got a message from JP saying that they're confident that the roads have dried out enough for them to get underway. So I'm not going to pack up my stuff yet. I'll leave that up, because first sign of any trouble, I reckon they'll pull up again and camp. So I'll just leave everything set up. When they get here, if they get here, they're going to want to regain their composure anyway. It'll only take me 20 minutes to pack my lot up. They could still be, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours before they get here. Well, I just got a message from Paul. They're about 80 k's from town, so I guess they'll be here within the hour. They're inbound. I could see their headlights off in the distance. The road leading in and out of town is from the west. Yeah, I can hear them now. What sort of a day have you had, Chris?
Today's excellent. Yesterday wasn't so good.
Different story?
Yes. Yeah.
Welcome home, boys. Yeah. JP wants to keep moving, trying to make up for a bit of lost time, I think, so I'll pack up. They're going to refuel, get a bite to eat. We're going to make our way to Laverton and then on the Great Central Road, and we'll just keep riding until we sort of not run out of daylight, but we'll pull up just enough time to set up camp. Well, I'm not sure about the others, but I'm well rested and relaxed. They're probably a bit strung out, mind you. That's why they call it adventure riding. Yeah, they've all been tested, I think. They're in town getting some lunch. We'll join them, and then we'll start making our way towards Laverton for refuel, and then yeah, keep heading, in this case, east. No shortage of bush camps where we're going. Peace. Alright, they've had lunch, they've refueled. Sunset is early, 5:21 p.m. That's because we're a little bit further east now than Perth. So I don't even know if we're going to make Laverton. I think we're going to slab it up to Leonora and then turn right rather than take the Golden Quest Discovery Trail. That's all unsealed, or mostly unsealed, but I think JP wants to make up a bit of time, and I get it. That'll be pretty knackered. Adrenaline would have played a part. Adrenaline can get tiring. We've got a mate back in Perth, Chris. That's Chris number 1. He's sort of been monitoring our progress on my InReach satellite tracker. He knows that we've had some issues, and JP, I mean, he's busted the front guard on his bike, got choked up with mud, and that caused him to have a couple of offs yesterday. They build up with mud and just lock up the front wheel, but anyway, yeah, he's damaged the guard, and Chris number 1 back in Perth has ordered a new one, a higher one, and that's going to be shipped to Kununurra. We'll be there in about a week, so hopefully it's going to be waiting for him, because they've done a bodgy on it, but it's a real bodgy. I don't know if it's going to last all the corrugations. Right, we found an area which doesn't have a fence. We'll find something in here, I'm sure. We don't have to be far off the road. Oop, no good?
Hey, what's up you there, mate?
Okay. Too wet, too damp. I guess they're a bit gun shy now. You can't blame them. Yeah, this will do, I think. It's not a big area, but big enough for us. There's only 5 of us. As long as there's enough distance between the snorers and the farters, that's all we need.
This isn't good. Unfortunately, the nut for the sprocket has come off. The seal behind the sprocket has failed and there's oil everywhere. I'd say my ride's over.